My child, an evil woman close to you just received her karma. In broad daylight, she was shot by. My beloved child, a new chapter of your life is beginning. If you trust in God, type Amen. Heaven watches everything, my child. Even the things that no one else sees. The tears you cried in silence, the moments you questioned yourself, the times you wondered why someone you trusted so deeply could turn into someone who tried to break you. Archangel Michael has walked into this hour not just with comfort, but with divine confirmation, because something has shifted in the atmosphere around you, and it is not your imagination. This shift was written in the stars, sealed in God's timing, and now, finally revealed. That woman, yes, that one, the one who wore your trust like a mask and turned your goodness into her opportunity, she has just tasted the consequences of her choices. Not by your hands, not by your revenge, but by divine order. Because God never needed you to fight battles you didn't cause. He needed you to heal, while heaven handled what your heart couldn't. This woman's karma didn't come in the way people expect. It wasn't loud, it wasn't shouted through the streets. It was deeper. It was holy. It was visible only to those who understand that when the universe balances itself, it speaks without sound but shakes the foundation of those who manipulated innocence. And today, in broad daylight, the illusion she built around herself began to crack. Publicly. Quietly. Without escape. Archangel Michael says, you don't need to gloat. You don't need to look back. What heaven wants you to do now, is recognize how protected you really were. Because while you were being used, heaven was preparing a table in front of those who thought they buried you. While she spoke lies in private rooms, angels stood near you in public spaces, shielding your name from destruction. And while your heart broke behind closed doors, God wrote a testimony that would one day lift you in front of the same people who watched you suffer. That one day is opening now. That woman pretended to love you. But love doesn't imitate loyalty. Love protects. Love doesn't ask for everything and give nothing. Love doesn't plot while smiling. She saw your light and wanted to carry it as her own. She saw your favor and assumed she could take it by mimicking your ways. But favor cannot be stolen, it is rooted in spirit, not performance. And today, Archangel Michael says, the curtain is torn. The mask has fallen. And the one who twisted your truth is now facing her own. You may not hear her confession. You may not see her tears. But heaven has already heard what she said in her own soul. That moment in broad daylight, the one that caught her off guard, the one that shifted her world, it wasn't punishment. It was awakening. And it was never meant for your revenge, only for your release. Because now that justice has moved, the doors that were spiritually blocked are beginning to open for you. That delay you felt? That heaviness? It wasn't your imagination, it was a spiritual weight placed over your destiny by her deception. But now, the light is returning. And not just around you, within you. So breathe. Release the need to explain yourself. Let go of the urge to prove what happened. You were never crazy. You were never wrong for sensing something off. You were just spiritually ahead of what your emotions had time to process. And now, heaven has caught your spirit up to the truth your soul always knew. Archangel Michael is standing near your name now. And the angels that heaven assigned to you are no longer just protecting you, they are lifting you, positioning you, opening favor that was once paused. Because that woman's manipulation once stood in the hallway of your next chapter. But not anymore. This is not just justice. This is redirection. What she tried to interrupt is now being accelerated. What she delayed is now being delivered. And the people who once believed her false story about you will now witness the divine truth written through your restoration. Let this moment be sacred. Let this peace return to you without guilt. Because heaven didn't just clear your name, it has honored your pain. There is a reason the shift is happening now. It is not coincidence that your spirit feels lighter, that your breath is deeper, that your sleep has started to change even though your circumstances haven't yet fully caught up. This is the vibration of heaven healing the trauma that woman left in your soul. What she thought she left behind was just a broken version of you, but she didn't know that God takes broken pieces and creates sacred temples. She didn't know that what she mocked would one day become. You see, child, the spirit realm never sleeps. Archangel Michael had been circling you even while she tried to block your destiny. And now, the time has come for the story to be rewritten. Her words are no longer the final chapter. Her presence is no longer the gatekeeper to your future. Because something ancient was unlocked in you when you let go. And that spiritual release has now triggered a divine unraveling of every lie she ever spoke. In broad daylight, her mask fell, not just in the eyes of man, but in the realm of spirit. The chains that bound your opportunities have broken. The heaviness that lived in your home has lifted. And the cycles of confusion she left in your emotions have been interrupted by clarity. This is what happens when the truth is revealed, not through confrontation, but through alignment. Heaven doesn't need noise to create justice. It only needs timing. Archangel Michael whispers now, you are not just free. You are favored. And this favor is not just emotional, it is material. The blockages that woman caused are being removed from your financial path, from your personal peace, from your relationships. What she cursed with envy is now being restored with purpose. What she tried to limit is now being expanded. What she tried to delay is now on its way, faster than you expected, clearer than you dreamed. You thought the season was ending in silence. But heaven says this is the beginning of a restoration so loud, it will echo in places her voice once controlled. She spoke against you, but now heaven speaks for you. She tried to expose you in lies, but God is exposing her in light. And you? You are rising without revenge. You are healing without hatred. You are walking into favor without begging. Because that's what happens when you're chosen, even when others don't understand why. Do not look back now, child. The evidence of divine justice is not found in her downfall. It is found in your resurrection. It is found in the way you are standing again, breathing again, dreaming again, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Let this moment cleanse you. Let it clear your name inside your own heart. Because God never needed her to confess for you to be restored. He only needed you to be ready to rise when He said, "Now." This is your now. And you don't have to carry her shadow into your new season. What she did, let heaven carry that. What she said, let the Spirit handle that. You, beloved, are too anointed to stay in the memory of the betrayal. Your light is too precious to be dimmed by her deception. And your purpose is too important to be postponed by anyone who never had authority over your life to begin with. Look ahead. The door is open. The wait is gone. And the same broad daylight that revealed her truth has now revealed your freedom. You were never crazy, beloved. The whispers you felt in your chest, the spiritual pressure behind your eyes, the way your stomach twisted whenever she walked into the room, it was not paranoia. It was discernment. You had been chosen to carry a level of spiritual light that her shadow could not stand near without trying to pollute it. Every time she smiled at you while secretly throwing curses behind your back, the angels around you absorbed the hit so your soul wouldn't collapse. And now, those same angels have returned to deliver a message: you are finally safe. Her karma did not arrive through your hands, because your heart never wanted vengeance. That's what makes your justice holy. You didn't chase it. It chased her. It followed her into places where she plotted, it echoed through rooms where she whispered lies about your name, it circled every conversation where she twisted facts to paint you as unstable. She didn't realize that the more she spoke about you, the more heaven documented every word. God may be slow to anger, but He never forgets when one of His children cries in silence. Child, you endured without exposure. You carried pain that had no witness. You smiled in rooms where your spirit wanted to collapse. And now, because you didn't curse her name, heaven has carved out a new identity for yours. You are not the broken one. You are not the forgotten one. You are the survivor. The preserved. The redeemed. And every angel who watched what happened in private is now preparing a table for you, not out of pity, but because justice has a scent, and they are drawn to where truth rises. That woman's karma wasn't just about punishment. It was about restoration. The shot that was fired in broad daylight was more than a physical event, it was a spiritual signal. It declared the end of a season of manipulation. It announced the death of spiritual interference in your path. It severed soul ties that had lingered long after she left. What happened wasn't random. It was divine order reclaiming its place. And while the world may look at the situation with confusion, heaven looks at it with peace, because justice delayed is not justice denied. Now listen closely, because this part is important. Her exit was loud, but your rising will be quiet. There will be no fireworks, no announcements. Just peace. Just open doors. Just opportunities that flow to you with no striving. This is the reward of choosing to stay kind in the face of cruelty. This is what it means to walk in alignment, not vengeance. And even though your heart still trembles from the echoes of what she did, the Spirit says, you are safe to exhale now. She cannot follow you into this next season. You may hear news about her. You may see people posting her picture, telling stories, even pretending to care. But do not be shaken. The truth is, they knew who she was all along, but they were too afraid to stand beside you. Now that her mask is off, some will try to return. Let them speak, but do not let them sit. Let them apologize, but do not give them access. Because this healing is sacred. And not everyone deserves to witness your becoming. You are walking into a chapter where no demon can trespass. Where no lie can block your money, your peace, your relationships. The storm that woman stirred around your life has finally ended. And Archangel Michael is placing his hand over your heart, whispering, I carried you through the fire. Now I will clothe you in honor. What you felt was a loss was actually a release. And what feels like an ending is only the beginning of your public restoration. Stay still. Stay surrendered. Stay obedient. Because the next part of your story is about to be written in favor, not fear. She thought she had the final say. She thought her words would define you, that her absence would destroy you, that her betrayal would leave a permanent hole inside you. But heaven had already gone ahead of her. God had already written your escape before she began to dig your trap. What she didn't understand was that you were never operating under her rules, you were moving under divine timing, divine protection, divine favor. And now, as the dust settles around her downfall, heaven is clearing the path for your inheritance to arrive untouched. Listen to this closely, child. She didn't just aim for your peace, she aimed for your purpose. She wanted to delay what God placed inside of you. She wanted to confuse your identity so you would question your calling. She wanted to dim your voice, manipulate your emotions, isolate you in shame and self-doubt. But what she didn't know was this: no one can outmaneuver divine design. And what is stamped with the seal of God cannot be stolen by envy, controlled by ego, or destroyed by deception. You were covered the entire time. Archangel Michael has been walking through your atmosphere for weeks, clearing energy, reversing spells, removing words that lingered over your destiny. And now, what you feel in your chest is not anxiety, it's deliverance. It's the weight of every lie leaving your body. Every secret she buried is being exhumed by light. And every tear you cried in silence is being remembered by heaven as a seed. You didn't just suffer. You sowed. And now the harvest is here. The very people she convinced to turn against you, they are watching in silence now. Because there is no denying the glow on your life. What they thought was your downfall was only your wilderness. But now the wilderness is closing, and your promised land is near. The favor coming next is personal, customized, angel sent. It is not random. It is not general. It is specific to your pain, your process, your perseverance. That's why you've been feeling this shift, because heaven is reintroducing you without needing you to explain yourself to anyone. That evil woman's karma was loud. Yours is quiet. Hers showed up in headlines. Yours shows up in healing. Hers came as a fall. Yours is rising. And though no one celebrated your pain publicly, heaven rejoiced in your survival privately. That's why the angels are surrounding you now, not to warn you anymore, but to reward you. You made it. Through the whispers. Through the manipulation. Through the emotional fatigue. You made it. And now everything that was held up, everything that was blocked, everything that was delayed, is on its way. Do not feel guilty for what is being revealed about her. Do not mourn her downfall when God is trying to awaken your elevation. She used her free will to operate in shadows. You chose light. She moved in deceit. You chose discernment. And now, the distance between you is not just physical, it's spiritual. Her chapter is closed. And yours is opening with clarity, with power, with protection so strong not even memories of her can reach the frequency of where you're headed. Breathe, beloved. Because this part of your life will not be built with fear. It will be built with joy. And joy is your portion now. Not as a reward for pain, but as your birthright. The Spirit says, the tables have turned, and this time, you are not seated alone. Angels are with you. Grace is with you. Provision is with you. You are not the victim of her schemes anymore. You are the survivor of divine appointment. And what she tried to interrupt, God has placed on divine acceleration. She thought no one would ever find out. She was so sure her games would never catch up to her. She trusted her lies more than the truth you carried. She believed her charm could outshine your honesty. She thought if she could manipulate the right people and plant the right rumors, she could rewrite your story with her version of events. But heaven kept records. Heaven never blinked. Heaven saw what the world ignored. And now, one by one, every seed of injustice she sowed is sprouting up into divine exposure, not because you wanted revenge, but because God wanted justice. There were moments when you questioned yourself, when you wondered if maybe she was right. When her absence made you feel like you weren't enough. When the silence from others made you think your truth didn't matter. But what was really happening was spiritual warfare. You weren't just fighting her words, you were fighting the spirits behind her. The envy. The entitlement. The energy that couldn't stand your light, so it tried to dim you through deception. But even in your weakness, heaven shielded you. And now the truth is walking into the room without permission. Archangel Michael didn't bring judgment because you cried for it. He brought truth because heaven is a God of order. He brought clarity because you suffered in confusion for far too long. And as her karma hit, not just physically, but spiritually, a wave of restoration started forming around your name. Your name is being rewritten in the heavens. Your name is being whispered in places that once closed their doors. Your name is being redeemed by the hand of God Himself. Because your heart stayed clean while hers plotted with venom. The truth she buried is coming back like a flood. Conversations she twisted are being corrected by people who now see clearly. Money she tried to block is flowing again. People she manipulated are waking up in regret. And the more the truth rises, the more heaven lifts you higher. Because what was once hidden is now sacred. What was once delayed is now accelerated. And what was once questioned is now confirmed. You were never the villain. You were the one who kept going, bleeding in silence, hoping someone would just believe you. God believed you. You need to understand what's happening here. This is not just closure, this is compensation. The pain she caused will not go unpaid. The joy she stole will be returned sevenfold. The peace she shattered will be restored in abundance. Every year you lost in confusion is now being repaid with divine opportunity. Every door that closed because of her lies is being reopened with honor. You are not just healing. You are being crowned. And this crown doesn't come from people. It comes from endurance. She may have gotten away with it in the eyes of the world, but not in the eyes of God. And now, that woman's final act is not about her, it's about you. It's about the way your story rises from the ashes. It's about the testimony that will come from your scars. It's about the way your life will reflect the love of a Father who never left you, even when others did. What she meant for harm, God is using as a platform. What she tried to bury you with is now becoming the soil from which your miracle is rising. The season ahead is not about proving anyone wrong, it's about living in truth, in fullness, in favor. This time, you will walk in rooms that were once locked. You will speak in places where you were once silenced. And your story, the one she tried to erase, will be told, not with bitterness, but with beauty. Because when God restores, He doesn't just return what was stolen, He multiplies it. He purifies it. He glorifies it. And this time, your name will carry peace, not pain. This is your confirmation. You survived what was meant to break you, and now heaven is making sure you thrive in the open. There are things that heaven reveals only after the storm has passed, secrets that would have broken your spirit if they were shown too soon. But now, my child, you are strong enough to see clearly. You are steady enough to receive. You are brave enough to hear what your spirit already sensed but couldn't put into words. The woman who moved against you with smiles and sweet voices, her betrayal was not ordinary. Her intentions were not surface level. What she tried to steal wasn't just money, or time, or reputation. She tried to rob you of your spiritual inheritance. She was after your divine legacy, the one written in heaven long before you took your first breath. She didn't just envy your blessings, she envied your birthright. She could sense that what rested on your life was ancient, powerful, prophetic. She knew you carried something sacred and rare. So she did what jealous spirits always do, she got close, not to love you, but to study you. To mimic you. To collect information about your pain and then weaponize it against your destiny.